welcome to Books That Spark, a podcast for parents and caregivers, celebrating books that help us with everyday discipleship every day, sparking important conversations with our children. Today I want to talk about Bookish books. As we're talking about possible choices for Christmas presents, I have to share some of these books with you. I think they would make wonderful Christmas presents, and they all have the theme of books and reading and those kinds of things. And if you're like me, my whole family loves books. We have bookshelves in just about every room of the house except the bathrooms. And we all love books. We all have our different kinds of books we love, but we all love books. And so I always give my kids books for Christmas. I think every year we have. There was a time when my oldest son did not think that was a good idea. He didn't want books or clothes for Christmas. He wanted only toys. But that was only a short-lived time. Now everybody loves getting books for Christmas. So the first ones I want to share with you are about for kids who love books. And so the first one is All the Books. And this is by Haley Rocco and illustrated by John Rocco. And it's so cute. This little mouse loves all her books. And she has a few books and she keeps having to get bigger things to carry her books around with her because she takes them with her wherever she goes. And eventually they fall off her wagon. She's got a wagon she's pulling. They fall off. They get in the mud and the water and she's so upset. And then she finds this wonderful place called the library and starts to understand that she can read all the books and return them to the library. Other people can read the books and everyone can enjoy them. So it's a really cute book about books and about libraries and reading and how much fun that is. And another one with a similar message, but also about falling in love with reading is by Patricia Polacco. She has so many good books, but this one is called Palace of Books, and it's specific about her first learning about the library and learning about books, and they had moved to a new community, and she's learning to about the library and finding books. And if you know anything about her, she is an artist and a writer, but she also is dyslexic, I believe. Anyway, she was in special ed when she was younger. And one of her most famous books is Thank You, Mr. Falker. And this one is such a wonderful book about a girl who's dyslexic, and her teacher takes the time to help her learn to read and how powerful that is in her life. And so these two books, I think, are really wonderful. And if you have reluctant readers because they're dyslexic or struggling with reading, I do have some books I want to suggest for them for this Christmas. And that way, maybe they won't mind receiving books so much if they can see how fun these books can be. The main one I like, and these are books for reluctant readers, by Beth Bacon. And so if you look up Beth Bacon, she has several books that are out and are really cute. One is I Hate Reading, How to Read When You'd Rather Not. The book No One Wants to Read. Blank Space. This one's really beautiful. It says a story about reading for 7 to 10-year-old reluctant readers. And these are for your older readers in the picture book and going into chapter book age. And this Blank Space one I just love. It really is clever and very sweet. But these books are so much fun because it's like the children are reading without realizing they're reading, and it makes it a lot less painful for them to read. So Blank Space, the book No One Wants to Read, and I Hate Reading. And she may have others, but those are the ones I'm familiar with. The Worst Book Ever is another one of hers, but it has a lot of potty language and stuff in it. And so it's not my favorite, but the others I really like. Okay, and then we have some other books that are just fun. I've mentioned The Panda Problem before, one of my favorite books, and it's talking about how every story needs a conflict. And so it's also ironic. So you can talk about irony, you can talk about story structure and need and conflict in the plot. And it's just a funny book. So I love that one. And then um, another one is Planting Stories, The Life of Librarian and Storyteller Pura Belpre. It's a Jamaican name, so I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But it is a really cool book about this. It's a biography of this woman who lived, and she made sure there was a library for students to be able to read books. And her story is just full of life, and it's just so interesting. And I have this book, and I really love it. Another fun one for your younger readers is Interrupting Chicken. And this one's about storytelling and bedtime stories. And it's so cute. If you haven't seen Interrupting Chicken, you should really get that one. It's a lot of fun. So, Interrupting Chicken, his father's trying to tell him a bedtime story, and he keeps interrupting the story. And um, and so he's like, no, don't do this. And like with Little Red Riding Hood, no, he's a bad wolf, stay away from him. And she did, and the end, and it's like, it's so funny. Anyway, I really think it's a cute story. Um, there's one very odd little book, and I don't know, it's quirky. I don't know if I would recommend it or not. It's called The Fantastic Flying Books of Mr. Morris Lesmore, and it's quirky. It's just quirky, and if you read between the lines, you know that it's kind of like people are passing away. A person passes away, but it's kind of beautiful at the same time. This is one I would recommend you reading first before you buy it for a child. It's a specific kind of child who would enjoy this kind of a book, and it wouldn't be for your very young readers, I don't think. But of course, one of the favorite ones out there, and if I didn't mention this one, probably people would be upset with me, is Library Lion. Such an adorable book about libraries again and books, and this lion who goes to the library, and it's just so cute. And a lot of people, this is like their favorite book. And another one is You Are a Reader, You Are a Writer. I've mentioned this one before on a couple podcasts, by April Jones Prince and illustrated by Christine Davenier. And it's really an encouraging book. And so if you've got students and you're going to maybe be introducing creative writing in the next semester, because we usually do creative writing toward the end of the year, this would be a good one to really inspire them, to get them thinking about how they are readers and writers. And it's such a cute book. And it's one of those, it's got two books in one. When you read the front part, it's the one book, and you flip it over and it's the other book. And so it's just really cute. And then I wanted to talk about a few really special picture books about authors. And of course, some of my favorites, C.S. Lewis. There's a book called Finding Narnia, the story of C.S. Lewis and his brother. And this is a picture book by Carolyn McAllister and illustrated by Jessica Lannon. And it's just a beautiful book. There are others about C.S. Lewis as well, picture books and chapter books that talk about his life that are good as well, but I like this one. J.R.R. Tolkien has John Ronald's Dragons, the story of J.R.R. Tolkien. And this is also by Carolyn McAllister and illustrated by Eliza Wheeler. This is a really cool book as well. So these books are very short picture books that start to introduce these authors to us. And so I think they're fun. And then we have Becoming Beatrix, The Life of Beatrix Potter in the World of Peter Rabbit by Amy M. O'Quinn. And she was on our podcast. You can go back into the archives and listen to her interview. And she wrote this one. There are several biographies about Beatrix Potter, and I highly recommend the movie with, I can't think of her name, the actress, but there's a movie that was made about her life that is just wonderful, and I just love it. And there's also one that's a documentary about her life that is really wonderful to watch. And so if you have a child that wants to be a writer and is very bookish. These would be fun movies to watch together. The one about her life had some sadness in it. Her first fiance passed away before they could be married. And so, of course, there's some sadness in there. But it's a really beautiful, poignant story about her life. And then when I think of books about books and writing and all of these kinds of things, one of my very favorite books of all time is Little Women by Louise May Alcott. And I just love the story, and I always love that story. I've reread it many times. And, of course, Jo writes her books, and I just love that story. And when I think of books about bookish people, this one comes to mind. And so that's one I want to add as well. And I guess it's kind of like an honorable mention book. There's this one book that is just so funny, but it has a bad word in it. And so I don't know. I might buy it for my upper elementary going into middle school aged kids. If you don't mind having one bad word in the story, I think it's in there twice. And, but oh my goodness, the book is so funny. If we could just take out that one word, because it's name calling, and I don't like that. And it's just funny. So it starts out with these two kids. I think they're animals in the story. I can't even remember, but they're talking, and the one is reading a book, and he's like, "What are you doing?" The other guy, and he's like, he's playing video games. And so it's talking about the difference between a book and video games. And he's like, "Really? Does it make noises?" He's like, "It's a book." "Does it do the? It's a book." And so, he calls him a name. I think maybe it's only once in the story. For some reason, I'm thinking it was twice in the story. I don't have the book with me. Anyway, check it out, see what you think. But the book is really good. It's just, I wish they didn't have the name calling in it. So I would give it a really low honorable mention because of that. It's very clever otherwise. So if you could get past the one word, white it out or whatever, then I might like it. I just don't like name calling, even if it weren't a bad word. If it weren't a bad word and it still was calling someone a name for not understanding the difference between a book and a video game and a computer and a TV, then I still wouldn't like it. But it's even a name I wouldn't let my kids call someone. So take that with whatever for whatever it's worth. But it is a funny book. I wish we could write one that didn't have that in it, because it would be fun. But most of these would make really great Christmas presents for your kiddos. And I think you would enjoy them, reading them together again, like Little Women, reading them together as a family. Also has kind of a Christmas theme to it, so it'd be kind of fun to read for that. I always keep my Little Women copy with my Christmas books. I have a basket by the fireplace every Christmas that has all my Christmas books. And my kids are grown, but when little kids visit, or if we're in a mood to just sit and read together, we can do that. So a couple quirky books, a couple honorable mention type books, but for the most part, these other books are so rich and have so much in them. And I just love that. And there are some other books where they do a play on words. There's a book from Horrible Histories about the words that Shakespeare helped create. So there's a whole lot of books out there that are a lot of fun to read about books and about words and about writing. But these were the ones I thought would make some really fun Christmas gifts this year. And oh, I just remembered one more. I knew there was one more. This one's really cute too for your younger readers. It's Where Are My Books? And it's about this little, I think it's a little boy. It's hard to remember. Some of them have animal characters, some have people characters. But I think this one has a little boy, and he has his books, and he loves his books, and he has them on a bookshelf next to his bed. And he wakes up in the morning and a book is missing. And there's something left on the shelf. And I didn't really pay attention to that at first. but it does become important in the story. So if your kids notice that, that'll be good. And then the next day he gets up and another one's missing, and he's starting to panic, and he's looking everywhere and asks his family, he's looking for his books. He's all upset, and they keep disappearing until he almost doesn't have any books left. He has like one book left, but his favorite book was taken the first day. And so he goes out and he finally finds his books, and they've been taken by squirrels. And he didn't know squirrels like to read. Neither did I, but apparently they do in this story. And so they kept bringing acorns and leaves and stuff like that to leave on his shelf as payment for the books. And so he made a rule where they could check out the books and read them, but they had to return them, kind of like a library. And so he learned to share his books with them. So it's kind of quirky and fun, but I think little kids would enjoy it and find it funny. And it's just cute. So that one's called Where Are My Books? So I hope that helps you with your Christmas shopping and maybe gives you a few more ideas on your Christmas list for this year. And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I want to remind you that in January, the middle of January, we are joining Books That Spark with my other podcast, Everyday Discipleship Every Day. And it will now be Sparking Everyday Discipleship. And that will start the middle of January. And we still will have a lot of the same content, but we will also be digging down a little deeper into discipleship because of joining the two together. And I think it will be good. I think it will bless you. I hope you're enjoying that these are video now. This is not my favorite thing. I don't like being on camera, but I love getting to talk to authors and others and see their faces and enjoy the conversation with them. And I hope that you're enjoying the conversations with the different writers that we've started interviewing on video. Well, thank you for joining us for Books That Spark, where we encourage each other to grasp those teachable moments sparked by great books and to live out everyday discipleship, helping to equip our children to follow Christ with their whole hearts. If you liked this episode, please like and share, tell others about it. We would love for more people to know that we're here. And you can leave any questions or comments in the comment section on the blog post at my website, terriehellard-brown.com. If you go there, you can find the drop down for Books That Spark and find this episode and leave comments in that section. So we love to hear from you, and we respond to every comment and question. So please feel free to do that. We pray that you feel empowered to walk by faith and to embrace everyday discipleship every day with the children in your life.